Oh, tes. Oke. Oke, ini gamenya udah
udah
mulai dan udah mau habis ya guys ya. Sorry banget berlive. Oke, kita lihat di sini aja langsung MPLPH TNC versus OMG di match pertama. Gue baru sholat jadi agak telat guys, sorry. Oke, Caknu di sini pakai kufranya cuy ya. Caknu pakai kufra. Oke, yang baru di sini ada link hyper biasa. Barat bukan hyper siapa? Ryzen hyper ya. Hypernya itu berarti Hayabusa mungkin. Yap, hypernya Hayabusa dari OMG. Kita lihat sini langsung TNC mulai ke ini ya, tertekan ya. Tapi kita lihat sini link udah mulai Tempest of Blood. Sini Kera sih sakit banget cuy ya. Kera sakit banget dan juga Emax ini juga sakit banget dengan damage burst-nya dari ultinya. Oke, di sini Caknu ya. Caknu pakai kufra itu udah bahaya banget cuy. Caknu pakai kufra. Dan di sini seperti biasa lah ini metanya ya, bisa dibilang. Oke, kita lihat sini itemnya. Parsnya sudah jadi Holy Crystal. Dia pengen buat ke arah Divine Grave atau mungkin Winter kemungkinan. Terus dari linknya di sini dia pengen buat Immortal mungkin ya, supaya nggak gampang dimakan aja dan juga nggak bakal gampang di pick off aja langsung gitu dari linknya.
Etomax and Kelra to be able to deal the magic damage. Of course, Feather Their Trike and the slows makes them a little bit of an easier target to hit.
Okay,
and at the same time,
real time winnya
from the
si Omega ya, banyak yang
to
megang
the slows of
pasti.
the Zalman Force means that Kelra will have a good time just dashing around while the members of TNC are running away.
Oke, Kelra udah jadi Oracle dan juga Caknu udah jadi Immortal. Oke, Kelra di sini butuh Oracle untuk mengantisipasi Pegot ya mungkin ya. Mungkin aja antisipasi Pegot. Karena dia bawa stun spellnya ya.
Be able to cash out
Petrify
there's a higher chance to be able to burst down the
aja untuk Kelra dan juga untuk nambah armornya sih ya. Bagus juga. Oke, kita di sini Lordnya masih belum mau diambil oleh MG karena juga mungkin bahaya. Caknu udah mulai open war tapi masih terlalu tebal dari Caknu ya. Oke, cuunya di sini nggak bakalan dapet buff sih, tapi mungkin aja bisa dapet kalau dia pengen nyolong. Tapi retrinya pakai. Oke, sayang sekali retrinya nggak dapet ternyata, malah diambil oleh Kelra ya. Diambil oleh Kelra atau mungkin Reset. Oke, udah mulai nyolek Lord. Kita lihat di sini. Oke, soalnya udah dipakai retrinya ya sama si Chu, jadi mereka pede aja untuk Lord. Tapi kita di sini Grok udah mulai open war. Siapa yang dapat Lordnya? Oke, masih Hayabusa tapi bakal rata sini, bahaya banget ya. Bahaya banget tuh ratanya dari OMG. Tapi kita di sini Caknu masih tebel banget. Caknu cuy masih ada Immortal. Kita di sini Kera apa bakal maju lagi. Kera udah ada ulti lagi Kera. Oke, tapi di Ryzen di belakang pick off Banting yang sekarang banget langsung Kera. Ini bakalan end sih. Ini bakalan end dari TNC ya. Ini bahaya banget karena nggak ada yang open war dari Banting dan juga Dare sebagai tanknya atau mungkin yang depaninnya gitu ya. Itu nggak ada, maling cuma Toshi doang. Tapi Toshi ini pakai emblem high and dry cuy, kacau juga ya. Oke, Caknu udah mulai open. Caknu tapi Epigot udah nggak bisa ya cuy ya. Lordnya terlalu sakit dari arah OMG. Oke, match pertama dimenangkan oleh OMG atau Omega Esport. Kenapa dicium coy? Bro.
They knew they were behind. They had to continue to buy time, like you said, to buy items. And I think they were getting to a point,
TNC,
but Omega was literally doing their best at choking out Chu from his buffs, his resources.
Metanya biasa ya, Link Hyper dan juga ada Grok sebagai tanknya, ini biasa banget. Mungkin tadi di
because of Omega being able to get the first 3 turtles of the game, it's not gonna be a tough time for them to run away with a lead eventually. TNC, to their credit, again, they kept it relatively close. We've seen games before where the team that ended up winning got the first first 3 turtles and it was just a complete stomp. But this was, in terms of the gold, it was not a stop. TNC kept it close. But in terms of getting the objectives, not just the turtle and the lords, the turrets, and of course the kills, Omega just got more of that, and of course they won.
Honestly, looking at this lineup, I was expecting TNC, again, just based on the mechanics of the heroes, to really take over the first 10 minutes. They didn't get there. Yeah. So that complicated things, and all the more gave Omega the conviction to end it like this. I mean, the game was far from quick, honestly. We did hit the talk timers at 19, but yeah, it just shows that TNC really put up a fight. They found a way to get themselves back into at least a salvageable situation, because they were putting up fights. It's just for them to actually win.
Pakuitonya ini kenapa diambil high and dry, gue juga nggak tahu ya. Dia ngambilnya itu high and dry, kenapa nggak emblem fighter?
Yeah, I mean, especially in terms of their lineup. Like I said, they had such a hard time getting past the front line of Omega. And on top of that, you're talking about that huge play coming out from Etu Max. Regardless of whatever caused that to happen, that's a huge momentum.
That Lord Steal, or that Lord Secure was absolutely crucial for Omega.
Not even a retribution tick. Not even
nothing
from TNC was faster.
Biasa-biasa aja gitu ya, sama aja kayak Indo-Indo. Tapi kalau MPL Kamboja itu udah beda banget tuh. Metanya tuh 1-2-2 ya.
Setback mentally, I feel like this, so that probably happened to TNC, but at the same time, regardless of if that happened, we kind of saw them crawling their way back in a sense, and I mean, they made some good plays there. It's just, unfortunately, when you're talking about objectives-wise, just like what Renmar mentioned, they gave up 3 turtles, and those really start to snowball to the point where even if you're getting those plays later on, and you're winning skirmishes or team fights, it kind of just gets out of your hands.
The weather's looking cloudy with a chance of statistiknya. This farce was crucial. But first, let's look at the items. At this point in the game, of course, Keller had a good time, able to secure all the items on here. Range picking up the dominant size, not a surprising pickup there for the Barretts, meant that he will be able to, again, slow down and reduce the healing of the members of TNC. Picking up the Radiant Armor as well means he'll be able to survive the magic damage coming in, mainly from the Kadita, though it comes in bursts. I think Renjo just like to have a little bit more HP there, and as the fight went on, that just means that you'll reduce the damage coming in from the Kadita. So, what? Now, Hayabusa's, or Ryzen's Hayabusa there, as you see there, almost fully maxed out, and once the Hayabusa has some immortality late into the game, well, it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to commit a lot of resources just to take down that Hayabusa. This was a story of, first, a lane switch that was unexpected. Renjo and Keldra. Now you see here, by the time we got to the first turtle, Renjo already went to the top lane. But in those 2 minutes, where at the start it was Keldra in the next lane, meant that he had an early advantage, maybe around half a level over the Paquito in terms of the XP. It's not much, but it's something, because also the Barretts would be getting more gold with his stay there in the XP lane. We're able to see if he got the last hits on those gold cards to give him a bit more gold. And I won't be surprised if that little switch that they did in the beginning, which allowed Renjo to build more items much quicker compared to his eventual and actual lane counterpart there, the X-Borg. Eventually, that's how Renjo and Omega decided to ride that momentum. Now, what happened here in the objective fights? If you look at the lineup of Omega, they have a very classic combo in the Barretts and the Farsa, someone that we see from time to time with this combo, but not all the time, is the Farsa. Sorry, Harith. But I said Farsa because this was the Lord Steal here of Etamax, and that was the turning point of the game, because at that point, TNC, again, they could have secured that Lord, and it looked like they were going to secure that Lord, and be able to ride the victory from that point. But Etamax had other plans. Farsa, something that he's played a lot, and he plays with a lot of skill. He was able to get the Lord Steal to change the game. And the objective fights were the main story here for TNC and Omega. TNC not being able to get win any as much, and Omega being able to get it. There was another Lord fight eventually where Ben Things and the rest of TNC committed a conceal to try and steal it away. I thought Ben Things was actually able to steal it away with a wild charge, but in the end, it was actually Ryzen's Hayabusa to secure it. But because
MVP dari Omega itu Parsanya tuh ya, emang udah sakit banget ya, dia bikin Holy Crystal, udah jadi Lightning sama
Grog was trying to pester him. Again, the weather was cloudy with a chance of Etamax with their MVP. 3-3 and 4, 54% kill participation, and the zoning out of the Farsa is what gave hesitation to the members of TNC to enter. And once they did, they had to look for the Farsa while also dealing with so many things, with so many slows on the other team, two main frontliners on the Barracks and the Kufra who can hold on. Detonus welcome. No surprise why this was a difficult fight for TNC, especially in the objectives. They did well, they fought valiantly, but again, with what we mentioned earlier, with that loss, well, it means that TNC is out of the race for the playoffs.
I'm thinking if there's another way, because looking at their tiebreakers, they are tied
harus defense sih ini Baratnya sih ya, Baratnya ngeselin banget buat open war. Sama Kufranya si Saknu ini nggak bisa cuy, harus di-ban. Harus banget di-ban oleh TNC. So dia buka warnya tuh bagus banget dari arah Kufranya atau Saknunya ini. Udah hafal banget rotasinya mau kemana, flickernya juga mau di area kemana tuh udah hafal
even
banget
up against
dari
RSG,
Saknunya.
let's say if the chance of TNC to get into this playoffs is against RSG, no, yeah, in terms of match win rate, win loss, game win loss, it doesn't look good for TNC. Yeah,
I'm not sure if this decidedly takes him out.
Rank pertama ya kalau nggak salah.
I mean, the math already
close to. I think it's closer to the certainty.
I mean, a lot of things would have to happen. Basically, now, like even more that it just gets
blacklist.
to a point where
ada blacklist.
It's very difficult.
Di rank pertama dari regular season ini.
You know what? While we figure this out, and again, as this
kedua
game
disusul oleh Onyx ya.
might we remind you to support your favorite teams by
sama
buying
EVOS.
your team cups. They're available in Lawson stores all around Metro
OMG
Manila.
itu
I
keempat
believe I have gotten
dan TNC itu
all of
terakhir.
them. I've bought all of them at least once.
TNC ternyata
I only have
terakhir ya.
I crunched the math, and
Omega ini
yeah, it
ketiga.
means
Keempat.
that they're out. Because now their max possible
RSD
points at
kelima,
this point
Eko
is
ke-6
around
dan Brandy Sport
16.
ke-7.
Yeah, so they get 5
Yang
more.
gua
But
bingungin itu
all the
Brandy
teams
Sport
that
kenapa
have 16 points, RSG
turun
and
drastis
Echo,
banget ya.
they will lose out
Ada
by
apa dengan
one
Valkyrie
match.
ini
Like,
ya?
for example, let's say they are able to
Padahal
beat
di M2
Omega
dia
here,
bagus
and then
banget
they
mainnya.
sweep their last
Gara-gara ganti
game
meta
of the
mungkin ya.
season.
Metanya sekarang meta
They will
fighter.
still be losing
Kalau di dulu kan
one
masih meta
match over
assassin tuh
the
udah bagus
RSG
banget.
and Echo, who both have 16
M2 ya.
points. So yeah, TNC's out.
Yep, that's the
Dengan
difficult
Lancelotnya,
situation for the boys in orange.
dengan
But GG well
Claudio-nya
played. I
juga
mean,
bagus,
this
Marksman.
doesn't mean it's over.
Tapi sekarang itu metanya
Again, if you can't
fighter
finish
ya,
first,
yang
finish
agak tebal.
strong. So
Susah banget
just play your
assassin
heart out. I mean, if you beat Omega
solo
here,
kill fighter
what's
tuh susah
stopping you
banget.
from denying
Apalagi
them
Baras
points?
kan.
I mean, that, and also on top of that, if they go in with the same lineup that they had, it's one thing to also accept kind of what happened this season and look towards the future, because that's something that, you know, will definitely need to be done here. And I think that's also one of the keys to victory was kind of forget the pressure and just have fun, because, and I know that's super hard for, especially when we're talking about professional players.
Sponsornya
and,
nih
you know,
Smart.
this whole
Smart apa ini?
thing, it's hard
Part 2
to
mungkin ya.
forget
Smart
the pressure.
5G.
I mean, even back in week 1, it's very pressured for all these players, all these teams, and everybody involved. So at the end of the day, you still
Rank
have to enjoy
4
it, have fun,
versus
and
rank
hopefully
8-nya ini
TNC
jauh
will
banget sih
continue
perbedaannya.
to go into game 2 having some fun.
In addition to having fun, which I believe they
Kalau
can
untuk
still do,
tadi
again,
siang tuh
we are
biasanya
seeing
gue
a
lupa.
fresh new TNC. This is not the Workhorse Force lineup of
ketujuh
Season
ya.
7. What else can they do? Again, Omega, they did make the game last longer. We did see Omega have to finish post TikTok timers. So
Tadi
that's
ada EVOS
you know, little
versus
mini
RSG.
achievement for
2-0
this later
dimenangkan
half of
oleh
Season 8.
EVOS. Tadi
But
gue nggak
as per lineup, as
testing
per
karena
execution, what else
lagi
can
di
TNC
luar
do
cuy.
better before we get into the draft?
I mean, one thing
2-0
is
langsung
going
dibabat
into game
habis
2
oleh
in general
EVOS.
to do better
Dan
here is
besok
just have
ada
a
jadwal brand
I would
versus
say have a better
Echo.
draft. I feel like
Oke, ini udah mulai bandnya. Yang pertama langsung dari Omega band Esmeraldanya.
he didn't get
Esmeralda
a
emang
chance to really
bagus
do
banget
much
ya
on Ling.
untuk
I even
lawan
mentioned it in the early part of the game that Ling is more so, it turns into like
meta
vision
sekarang.
and a
Kayak Pakuito
potential
di
steal
ban.
with retribution. But when you have players like
Pakuito
Entomax
TNC
on the
tadi
other
bagus
side
banget sih mainnya.
and kind of that technical
Walaupun hack and dry ya,
skill that
walaupun
Omega
agak
has,
tipis
it's
dari
very
arah
hard to do
Pakuitonya,
that.
tapi
So
sakit banget sih
TNC
mix-nya ke
kind of
arah
needs to go into this
Hebusanya jadi
game
masuk
having
banget.
a different draft, especially in their jungle.
Karena mungkin
And
udah
on
buat
top of that, have an answer
BOD.
to Entomax.
Mungkin aja ya.
Yeah, and I'm trying to
Oke,
put myself in
langsung
the shoes here
Selena
of
dan
TNC.
juga
Just
siapa
found
ini
out,
gue lupa
realize they're out of
namanya.
the playoffs. Hopefully they do, as you've been saying throughout, Leo, that they have the mentality of ending it strong.
Selena di ban ya.
Or, as we would say here in the MPL, end it with a bang bang. So, just pick your favorites, pick your comforts. If you want to end this strong and you want to get some wins, mix in getting comforts with some high priority picks. Again, in terms of the lineup, I actually like what TNC showed in game number 1 with the options that they had. Putting the Paquito in the gold lane, go high and dry,
jauh head
picking
di
up the
ban
Ling
dari
there for
Omega.
Chu, the Kadita, it's a comfort. So, more of that.
If there was one thing I would change from Game 1's draft, it would be have a smattering of scaling. At least one hero that just, after you get past a certain time frame, just does
Barats
well.
mungkin next ban.
It was not present at all in Game 1. It relied so much on execution, and when you do that, you give a chance for your opponent to stomp you.
Yeah, it's a gamble. And that's what made the victory there of Omega much more sure. The fact that they
Matilda.
got, even with just after getting the first turtle, the second turtle already, that meant that TNC was already trying to catch up.
Kufranya sih harus di
And
ban
it
nih
would have been
dari arah
kills,
TNC ya.
surprise
Harus
pick-offs,
banget sih.
skirmishes for them to be able to get it back. They were
Cakmu
getting
sih
some
repot
pick-offs
banget
here and
sih
there,
untuk
but then
Kufra.
Omega just kept their lead.
Yep. Here we go. First pick by Omega
First
after
pick.
the bans. Esmeralda, Paquito,
boy.
Jawhead. TNC taking out the Eve, Selena, and Matilda. There's the Phoveus. Wow, first pick Phoveus.
It's my favorite hero.
TNC ambil apa nih?
I talk about Phoveus all the time and how strong he is.
Yeah, even when you're just
Barat
at
sih,
home
Barat harus
with
diambil
your,
sih.
with your pets,
Lurnox
your
masih ada
partner,
juga.
it's like, you guys know about
Parsial.
Phoveus? Phoveus a
Harusnya
great
sih harus
hero.
di ban banget sih.
When you're
Oke,
in the
Kufra
toilet, just,
diambil.
you know, with the thoughts
Kufra
running in your
diambil,
mind.
takut diambil sama
Oh,
Caknu
Phoveus.
mungkin ya.
He's
Wow.
just, I
Tapi Caknu
mean,
ini banyak
I'm
juga
surprised
heronya.
he would be a pick
Hero
first
poolnya
pick
luas
here.
banget sih Caknu. Oke,
And
Lunox diambil
TNC
ternyata
this
bener.
time around answers with a
Barats
Lunox and a
mungkin.
Kufra pick.
All right, so right now, looking at TNC, the only things that really
Barat sih
interact
nggak
with the
bakal
Phoveus
pecah
would
banget
be
kalau
that
Lunox
one
ya.
jump from Kufra and maybe the Darkness Dash from the Lunox. So
Yeah.
they're kind of doing some damage control here. They did open up the Phoveus,
Kufra
but they're like,
diambil oleh TNC.
yeah, we're going to kind of skirt that.
Skirt.
I mean, even okay. I heard I believe that was a Chu.
Yes.
I believe that was a Chu.
Chovius.
Chovius.
Itu masih meta ya ternyata ya. Walaupun di
Oh, I ended up typing Chovius in my
Di
notes.
Revamp. Oke, ada Ling
This
lagi.
time around, Omega takes the Ling. So
Jujur aja gue
White-haired
kurang
boys.
suka sama Ling ini ya.
It's interesting how Omega was
TNC
like, we will
menurut
pick
gue
the
kurang. Ini
hero to
lancar
go
banget sih,
against
lancar.
dashes. Next
Kalau
two
dia
picks,
nggak ada yang
all the
lancar ya.
dashes.
They covered their bases. I really think this is it's well
Barats
thought out
masih belum diambil.
and well
Diambil dulu.
executed. It just so happens that
Oke,
they're all
Hayabusa.
white-haired men.
Hayabusa ini
I
kayak
think
ukuran
Ling's hair is
hero
more
gitu ya. Tadi Ling dipakai sama TNC.
silver, but with like a hint of
Hayabusa
purple.
dipakai
It's
sama
sort of like
Omega.
all the light coming
Dan
in
Kufra
from
juga dipakai Omega
Phoveus'
tadi.
frame is somehow
Oke,
made it all the
pasanya
way to
di
red
ban
screen.
ternyata
Look at that.
sama
It's
TNC.
kind of with a purple hue.
Wait,
Pasanya
back to
tadi
the
ganggu
draft.
banget ya.
TNC's playing with fire,
Mix
ladies and
burstnya tuh
gentlemen.
nggak
Look
ngotak
at these
banget
three
dari arah
picks.
dari
They're
arah
not playing
Omega.
around.
I mean, this is okay. I'm happy to see this so far from TNC.
Oke, Ben lagi stat lane-nya lapu-lapu mungkin.
Of what happened in the last game, they're still going to go into
Barats
this game,
juga
and it
bisa.
seems like they're going to give their best here. And as I mentioned too,
Siapa ya?
it's still very important for TNC as a team to finish strong, and with this lineup
Lapu
of players
Barats
that they're going in,
mungkin
to
akan
see if
di-ban.
there's something there that can work for them, because that could, if they find it out in this game, it could be something that they could use in the future.
Yeah, and you get scaling there with that Lunox. If it goes well for TNC, if Ben thinks, and if it is going to be Chu rocking this Hayabusa, which probably will be.
Oke, Xbox
You
juga ya.
already have Lunox there.
Xbox lupa gue,
you
Xbox
do
masih
get
belum di-ban.
a respectable mid-game spike that Omega
Aldous
need to be
di-ban sama
careful of.
TNC.
Really
Wow.
curious with the last two
Siapa yang
picks here
pakai
for
Aldous di
TNC.
Omega ya?
They still need a strong
Raisin
fighter option. Barrett
tahu.
is still
Gua
going to be
nggak
open for them if
pernah
you want to pick it up,
lihat
but right now I
Aldous
don't see a
sampai
lot of
di-ban gini.
harmony there in that lineup. they could
TNC ya
even
takut banget
consider, well, their
sama
typical pick
Aldosnya
here in
Omega.
this situation is
Atau mungkin emang lagi meta ya di sana Aldos.
Here, and that's usually what
he's there.
He's there. Yes. 3 Martins, he's not here.
He's there.
He's there.
Oke, lanjut.
Okay,
Pick lagi set
They
lane-nya
took out the
lapu-lapu mungkin.
Barats. So
Oke, Barats di ban.
I don't like the
Sama
Lapu-Lapu
Omega.
still. The Lapu-Lapu is a very difficult
Lapu-Lapu,
hero to pick into
Lapu-Lapu
this
sih bagus.
situation. Given that there is a Phobius.
Lapu-Lapu sama Tamus, masih ada Tamus juga.
Tamus is okay.
lawan
I think I kind of like the
Tuh,
Tamus.
bisa.
Oh yeah, Toms.
Yeah, Thams would be a good option
Lapu-lapu
here, but
Tamus ya,
also, I mean,
Your team is picking.
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not
Lapu-lapu
really sure what
Tamus.
TNC would go here besides a
Harit
Thams or
juga
even
bisa.
something, or unless you see them
Harit nggak bisa nih.
experiment.
Yes. Toms. Might.
Tamus sih, Tamus lapu-lapu
I
sih.
mean, yeah, I see it. I mean, you get good lane hold. See there.
Yeah, you laugh.
You're
Oke,
right.
Tamus
You're right,
lapu-lapu
but
beneran.
there he is,
Tamus
right?
bakal diambil.
No,
He's
no.
there.
He's there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of just
Oke,
trying to
masih
give
ada supportnya
there something
Luoi
to
mungkin
answer what Renzio's gonna do.
buat
And
lawan.
at best
Oh
you
bener
wanna
dong.
cut,
Oh bener mulu ya
at,
itu.
at worst, you kind of want
Oke,
someone that
lanjut ke
doesn't
tank.
be babysitting.
Tanknya
But,
masih
look at this.
ada
Omega
Brock.
picking up the
Brock masih ada.
Luoi. That's gonna be the hero
Oh,
that's
enggak.
gonna go into the
Ternyata
hands of the very talented Etomax.
tanknya siapa
Closing up strong.
Oh,
with,
Cakmu sebagai tank.
Yuzhong.
Oke, Chow.
Excuse me.
Chow tank.
Gold lane Yuzhong.
Yuzhong gold lane.
Well, yeah, it is looking like it. I'm gonna be
Oke,
wondering
Luoi
if this
di.
is gonna
Oke, Nana,
be
cuy. Ada Nana ternyata.
with an assassin emblem, or if you're gonna
Tapi
give it a fire
gimana nih?
emblem.
Lunok
I
set
think
ya.
Yuzhong with an assassin
Lunok
emblem,
set
yeah,
buat
there's a
lawan,
possibility that he'll do tons
Yuzhong
of
sih asik sih.
damage, but you risk losing his survivability.
Lunox buat
He's gonna
lawan
need to pick
Yuzhong
up
sih asik
those
di gold lane.
regen items quickly.
But I think they have enough survivability over there, you know, on their side.
Yeah.
They want to dive, but as we gasp
Oke,
and
ini dia.
exclaim at the gold
Bahkan
lane
rank
Yuzhong,
keempat
you have
versus
here
rank
Giga picking up
8.
his trademark Nana.
Omega
gotta
1,
respect that.
TNC masih
my
0. Kita
favorite.
bakal lihat sini apakah TNC bisa mengembalikan keadaan.
We didn't even have to
Keadaan
say
atau mungkin
anything.
2-0 dari arah
We weren't
Omega ya.
saying anything. Now
I
you're just
just
assuming.
literally looked at
We just pointed it out, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2, do or die for TNC. I do
Ya,
believe they are effectively
bener kan, Lunox
eliminated
di
from the
gold.
playoffs, but they can finish strong. And boy, oh boy, did they draft to do
Buat lawan
just
Yuzhong
that.
sih itu.
Here
Penting banget.
we go. Interesting matchup in the
Nananya
mid. We
support.
we've never seen this in season 8.
Man, that's a
versus
Nana,
Nana.
super
Nana
nice
sih sakit
skin,
emang
too.
sekarang.
Yeah.
Nana tuh lagi OP sih.
Also, Louis Yi showing
Oke,
up.
Caknu pengen ngerusuh
into,
tapi
for the
nggak
first
bisa
time.
karena Kufra di situ
I'm
ya.
actually
Sakit banget
wondering
Kufra dari
if
early
this
cuy.
is gonna be
Kalau
a
skill 2 aja udah sakit banget.
I'm very curious to see how Louis Yi performs because it's someone that I've wanted to see
Oke,
show up. So
Chu
Yeah.
pengen ngambil.
And
Wih gila, Caknu
with
langsung
Magic
flicker gitu cuy.
Worship as the emblem. Oh,
Gila.
Oh, Chu's
Dia pede
looking
banget
low.
itu.
Ryzen wants this, and he
Si
knows
Caknu
he can
pede
do
banget
it.
flicker gitu
Again,
cuy.
we just flashed a
Ada
percentage
otak tuh
win
orang.
rate for Omega, and with Ryzen in,
Dia pede
they've been
banget
winning.
flicker,
Was that
make
70%?
flicker demi
Close to.
Close.
Very
Stun
nice.
63 to 69,
di
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Hayabusa ya.
It's a
Tapi
majority.
nggak mati sih.
Yeah, and
At
that's
least.
huge because I remember
Oke,
when
kita lihat di
Ryzen
atas
came in, there was
Proveus
a lot of
versus
questions
Tamus.
about
Yang
that,
menang udah jelas
and
Tamus
that
ya.
choice
Tamus tuh di
to
early
put
tuh
him there,
kuat
and I
banget.
think he's performed
Factor
greatly
terkuat itu
so
di early
far,
ya udah
and
jelas
that
Tamus ya.
percentage obviously shows that. So, and going into the matchups here, I think
Tamus udah kuat banget di
mean,
area early.
when you put up
Oke,
that
Caknu dia
Falcon
pengen
back
buat
to
Tofus
Thams
dulu.
pick against a Phobius, I
Ya,
think
soalnya
that's
Nana
a
sih ya.
great choice
Emang
there
Tank
to
sekarang
go
tuh
up in
bikinnya
that lane
Tofus.
matchup. But when it comes to that first objective, I think I want to give it up so far to TNC in the early game. We'll have to see how things scale with them and Omega. But right now,
Gila,
I
Der
think
ngabisin
Omega
banget
will just
hutan,
have
coy.
a hard time going against
Dia
TNC
habisin sama
early
dia.
on.
For sure, I hear you, and I agree because
Ryzen
as
udah
for
mulai
Omega,
pengen
their scaling is
bunuh
something
Toshi,
that
tapi
happens
sini Caknu udah mulai
across
open war.
the board. It's something
Kayak
that
dua max
it's
sih nggak
more
bakal
of a
bisa
mid-game
di
spike. For TNC, you
diperangin
really
gitu-gitu, nggak
feel
bisa
it
cuy.
when Toshi starts to get those
Oke,
items
Link
and
masih
he
jauh di
does
bawah,
that
ini
burst
bakalan
and you,
turtle
like no
untuk
little girl has business
TNC
doing.
mungkin
First
ya
turtle
langsung.
up already.
Yep, TNC dapat. Caknu bakal mati. Poveusnya, oh gila Poveusnya sakit banget. Poveus sakit banget pakai flicker. Oh my god, nggak bisa cuy. Oke, flat, nggak ada flat. Tapi bakal mati 2. Yep, double kill dari Ryzen. Poveus sakit banget dari lead ternyata ya. Udah jadi penetration itu mungkin ya. Oke, Toshi dia bikin mana. Bikin sepatu mana. Oke, 2 max udah mulai ngendap-ngendap di sana, kita lihat bakal mati sih cepet banget. Tapi dia pakai kuning, masih kuning. Susah juga. Tawan kah? Oke, wah mati nih sih. Oh enggak, masih kuning, masih ada flicker. Udah nggak ada flicker, mati fix. Yep. Flickernya dipakai ternyata. Chaknunya bakal mati juga tapi enggak. Oh, gila. Bisa skill 1 ternyata ya sekarang ya. Ngelewatin tembok tuh bisa sekarang. Lupa gua. Ryzen di bakal sama si Dare dong. Obvious nggak bisa clear cepet karena Thanos pasti ngadang ya. Tapi dia bakal diambil si Dare ya. Yap, kayak tadi dapat langsung. Dare bakal mati seharusnya di sini. Ada Renzio di sana. Tuh, kalau dipakai ultinya tetap aja mati sama Renzio juga. Oke, di bawah pengen ngegeng kah ini? Penting harus banget ngebunuh sini supaya nggak terlalu rugi dari tensinya. Kalau sini udah mulai nggak kena. Oh, sangat disayangkan sekali Benting. Ulti angin tampaknya di sana atas bakal langsung di-push dan mungkin bakal hancur. Oh enggak, masih gold ya. Kali ini bahaya banget Chaknu. Waduh. Oke, ini bakalan kick ya. Waduh, tapi enggak keluar, masih ke turret ya. Sayang banget. Renzio udah pakai ulti tapi enggak ada yang slide. Oke, udah slide. Gak bisa cuy, jangan slide. Waduh, slide lagi dia. Kenapa slide mulu si Dare nih ya? Udah tahu si Renzio lagi ulti. Nah, slide lagi ya.
Yeah, usually
Chaknu ketahuan kah si Benting? Tampaknya enggak ketahuan ya. Oke, udah mulai ketahuan Benting. Edward Max udah mulai nyicil-nyicil tapi Chaknu enggak ada flicker. Toshi di sini bikinnya mana, jadi kalau untuk war itu kurang cuy. Perlu lightning dulu. Oke, Benting udah dapat Chaknu tapi nggak bakal ngaruh apa-apa cuy. Nggak bakal ngaruh soalnya belum ada si Cu-nya nggak datang. Cu-nya nggak datang. Mereka tahu apa enggak ya? Sayang banget Cu-nya nggak datang. Kartu kedua diambil sama Link. TNC sih harus gercep dan ngambil situasi cuy ya. Ngambil keputusan dalam
Yeah, and I like how TNC instead of forcing fights, trying to get a win from a skirmish, they ended up trading things out and they actually are able to break the first third of the game. So that's something TNC can be proud of and can build a comeback from behind like they've been things.
Benting demen banget ke arah Chaknu sini, trigger sini kayaknya.
Chaknu's first death, ladies and gentlemen, was from that first turtle take about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. I actually thought Benting was committed there because there were two other members of TNC nearby. Darren too.
Oke, Renzio bakal mati seharusnya di sini. Masih ada ulti. Oke, sangat disayang sekali. Untung tadi Cu nggak slide lagi. Toshi bakal mati seharusnya. Masih ada kuning. Tapi ada Link di sana. Oke, Link nggak ada slide ya. Link bahaya sini. Ternyata nggak nyampe Bentingnya, untung aja. Kira bakal nge-push di sana dan juga Haya masih di atas. Nggak datang ya. Kalau Haya datang mungkin tadi bakal dikeluarin.
This is where Ling really shines. So Ryzen again performing very well on a pick like that.
Oke, Ryzen di sini ngambil keputusannya sih bagus. Oke, kita lihat sini Benting ketahuan kah? Enggak ketahuan ternyata. Oke, bahaya dari dapat 2 tapi kita lihat Nana ke pick off dengan sangat amat mudah sekali ya. Oke, kira udah mulai ngeluar ulti. Sayang sekali ultinya keluar sia-sia ya.
Man, right now, Omega heading into the mid-game here, 19k gold over that 17k that TNC has, and a 7-3 score as well.
Oke, Cu udah mulai mendek-mendek. Mati sini, ini mati sini seharusnya bisa. Yep, mati. Sakit banget Toshi ini. Walaupun main mana ya? Satu mana ini Toshi. Udah jadi clock juga, belum jadi lightning. Tapi bisa sakit banget. Mungkin dari arah Cu-nya ya. Cu ini kaya banget sih, dia udah jadi War X mungkin. Oke, Chaknu udah mulai open war. Oke, Renzi udah mulai buka ulti. Siapa lagi yang slide? Udah ada yang slide. Oke, Benting langsung dapet dari Cu-nya. Benting di kick. Oke, masih ada flicker. Gila cepet banget tangannya itu. Oke, Dare susah banget masuk. Nana sakit banget Nananya cuy, gila. Oke, Cu kira udah mulai buka ulti tapi kita di sini udah pakai kuningnya si Toshi. Toshi bakal mati dengan gampangnya sekali. Kita lihat sini Tiga gak ada ulti sama sekali, nggak ada flame shot juga. Dari Dare juga nggak ada. Oh masih ada spell ya.
Wow,
Masih ada
Omega,
spell
they
tapi nggak
did
diwaret
lose
tadi.
quite a bit there,
Mungkin
but
baru
they're
ada
letting
juga
go.
dari daernya, makanya tadi nggak dipakai. Dari sini Chu bakal mati kah? Tapi nggak ada ulti kira. Oke, dia ambil turretnya gampang banget. Oh, pengen dimajuin lagi. Masih ada ulti. Masih ada ulti. Aduh, sangat disayangkan.
I see what you was
Ada
going for. He was
Petrify
trying to
dari
keep that shadow kill,
Keira.
but there was so
Itu
much
nggak nyangka sih
CC.
ada Petrify cuy.
Dispersion
Dari
and
Keira.
rotation combo from the Loyi eventually getting him there. Now Omega can
Di stun
continue
2 kali ya,
this ride.
di Petrify
Momentum
sama
in the
di
mid
stun
lane.
sama Luoi ya
TNC
dia.
will be able to clear this
Combo
up,
sama
so
Luoi itu kan dari
they don't
stun ya.
need to worry as much. But with the very small lead that Omega actually has, TNC are still in this.
Tadi buang ulti
They,
kenapa?
in terms of the items, they're not that far.
Itu Max sudah
They
jadi
now have
Holy
to be careful of this
Crystal,
Loyi
bakal
even
sakit banget.
more.
Oke,
The
Ryzen
Holy
ternyata
Crystal
baru
was picked
jadi.
up for him. And
War
at the
X
same
tadi
time,
mungkin
Keller
pas
actually
dulu
already
atau
picked
mungkin
up
endless dulu ya.
or has an Oracle and a Bloodlust axe. Hence why you're seeing a lot of regen on him
Endless
right
dulu sih
now.
seharusnya tadi.
Yeah, I think that's something they're gonna have to watch out for because when that Luyi gets the Holy Crystal.
Oke, War X juga udah jadi Chu. Oh, BOD duluan dia.
That's her main damage item.
Itu BOD-nya sih lama sih itu ya.
8
menit anjir.
Very hard to play around for TNC.
Lama banget.
Alright, I have to correct myself. No Oracle there for Kellera, but it's a Bloodlust
Oke,
axe
next
and
bakal
a
endless
War
battle.
Axe.
Kita lihat
So that's
linknya,
more
linknya bakal
damage
endless
coming
battle
out
dulu.
of this
Tadi
unit.
baru
On
LHS
the
dan
way to
juga
a
War
dominant
X.
place.
Yeah, and that'll be a great pickup.
Nana-nya ini pengen buat apa ya?
Healing reduction.
Oh man, I like the pivot that they've given Keller.
buat
They
apa
haven't
ya?
won just yet, but he could be
Holy
key
Crystal sih
to their victory. I
agak
mean,
sakit sih.
not just could be,
Mungkin
very much
Winter.
so.
Winter.
Earlier we did see him do quite a bit
Ice
of
spin.
just enforcer moves, just putting up a wall between the back line of Omega and TNC. But once he does get his mojo going, man, he can dive Toshi. He can force out moves from Chu, take down
Finish one
B-God
juga
almost
jadi tadi. Oke,
single-handedly.
kita sini
Right now, Omega
Cakmu,
they got
oh dapat
eyes
langsung
here
benting,
on that
tapi cuma
main
satu doang.
front
Oke,
turret.
Renzi
But
udah
here
mulai
comes
ngacak-ngacak di
Benting,
belakangnya.
catching out Kellera off guard, bouncing ball
Dia
out of
masih
here.
menunggu.
There,
Oke, keluar.
there's gonna
Linknya
just
split.
walk away. Wow, while Ryzen
Bagus
is
banget
just
pilihannya
wailing
split
away
ya.
at this bottom lane.
Sementara tadi cuma ngebet doang dari arah benting sih, udah ketahuan tuh ngebet doang. Jadi buang ulti, lainnya langsung gercep ngambil ke bawah. Tapi sayangnya nggak hancur. Masih ada Chu di sana ternyata. Oke, Dare di sini, Dare di sini dia War X mungkin atau mungkin Brute Force. Atau mungkin Athena ya. Untuk si Popeus sama si Luoi sih ganggu banget sini. Popeus sih yang ganggu.
Gotta talk about how difficult this game has been for Toshi. Look at this young man's record, 0-3-4.
Oke, Benting udah mulai.
Yeah, you can't blame
Ya
him.
aduh,
I mean,
sayang
going
banget
up
disayang
against
sekali. Tapi
Yuzhong,
mati nggak sih tuh? Mati seharusnya.
Early burst here
Jangan
on the
jangan langsung
Chaknu, survives
ulti si
with
Cho
about
itu kayak
a
nggak guna juga nggak sih?
tenth of his health. So that's gonna be the Mamba
Walaupun
recall
Cho-nya
him
nggak ada
out.
immortal
Not
tapi
much
ada.
in terms of
Oke, tapi
resources
mati
spent
kita
on
di sana
TNC,
Toshi.
but the true action
Toshi
was up
mati,
top,
tapi ada
man. And
flicker
again,
tadi ya.
Toshi
Mungkin nggak dipakai
goes.
karena nggak tahu kalau si Keira-nya ini ada Petrify. Keira masih ada ulti kan? Masih ada ulti Keira, masih ada ulti Keira, masih aman. Dulunya mulai balik lagi.
Look at this, Etomax
Tapi
to the
Etomax sudah
rescue,
datang ke
using
sana.
that
Holy Crystal.
diversion to respond
Oke,
so
Renzio ngacak-ngacak
quickly.
di belakangnya.
Demonic Force answered in
Tapi
by
ada yang ngelord tuh
Renzio.
Ryzen ya.
As
Ryzen ngelord.
Ryzen starts up this Lord, there's 4 of them there. They're wailing away at it, and this is a
Oke,
quick,
Chu sih nggak bakal bisa datang
quick
cuy.
Lord take.
Ada
Blink and you'll
Renzio
miss it.
ngalangin kalau dia
TNC
slide tuh
could not
bakalan bahaya
respond.
banget. Sakit banget damage dari. Oke, Endless Battle udah jadi. Sama tadi antivirus dari Caknu. Caknu bikin antivirus ya. Dominance mungkin udah jadi ya dari Caknu. Dominance mungkin udah jadi Caknu. Kalau dari Bentingsnya sih ini Dominance, Athena mungkin sama Brute Force atau mungkin antivirus juga.
Yeah, and going up against Phovius and Yuzhong,
Oke, Lord
since
pertama diambil
Lunals had a
oleh
difficult
tim
early game,
Omega
he
Esport
won't be quite there yet in
dengan
terms of dealing
Lord
the damage
masih
that he
ungu
can.
ya, belum
And
terbang.
A lot of the damage that TNC is,
Lordnya
or
belum terbang
their
guys.
lineup is basing on
Si aman lah ya,
ours,
ini dari
physical, but
Omega
wait,
tapi kita di sana.
Oh, heavy
Oke, Renzio
dive
Chu-nya
here.
bakal mati
Chu
kita di sana.
using those
Masih ada
shadows,
slide tapi
popping
slide-nya
the
bakal
ult,
mati
the
kita di sini.
shadow kill to
Ulti udah dipakai.
survive
Yap,
as
bakal mati dengan
TNC
sangat
gets
mudah sekali
dove
kita di
in
sana
deep by
tadi.
Omega.
Bagus banget
Kellera
dari
takes
Caknu
him
ya.
down. That's one man
Flicker,
away
wah gila
from
Caknu ini
TNC,
gila
and
banget
boy,
cuy.
oh boy,
Caknu
was it an
flicker
important
ulti
member. That's
itu
their
bisa
jungler
banget ngambil
as they
Chu ya.
continue with the onslaught, the assault.
Pinter banget ini
Lord
cuy,
down
sumpah.
bottom,
Caknu
Omega
tuh
down
aduh,
mid.
apa ya. Oke, Link udah mulai split atas karena dia tahu kalau Lordnya ini belum level 2. Level 1. Si ungu ya, belum mau kuning. Oke, tapi midnya nggak bakal dapat juga sih ini gara-gara ada Pigot yang masih ada ulti juga. Oke, ini high groundnya siapa ya dari arah TNC. Oke, kita di sana udah mulai buka ulti kuning udah dikeluarkan dari Ratoshi, tapi kita di sana masih ada flicker. Tapi Renzio udah mulai maju sekali. Kelewatan Renzio, nggak bisa kayak gitu. Nggak bisa kayak gitu. Oke, lightning baru jadi dari Toshi tadi, mungkin Holy Crystal masa sih? Divine Glaive mungkin, atau mungkin Genius One dulu. Mungkin Genius One dulu dari Toshinya. Tapi lightning Clock tuh udah paling combo bagus ya. Tapi lama banget sih itu jadinya. Lightning dari Toshi.
They're gonna definitely need to just rely on buying time just like before.
Oke, kita lihat itemnya. Oke, Benting sudah mulai ulti lagi, tapi Caknu lagi. Lagi-lagi ya, kita lihat Caknu mulai bergerak lagi. Ada flicker? Tidak ada flicker sayangnya. Terusnya Ryzen udah mulai mengikat dari Toshi, tapi Toshi udah nggak ada flicker. Udah dipakai kuningnya, bakal off langsung. Ryzen masih ada ulti. Ryzen masih ada ulti. Oke, tapi nggak bakal mau maksain ya, karena dia tahu ada Nana di sana yang masih ada ulti pakai tadi. Oh my god, sayang banget Omega. Tapi kalau ada Caknu ada ulti tuh, dia pasti bakalan ngincar langsung pecunya. Caknu. Tidak, Caknu berani banget itu. Rezio udah mulai buka ulti dari sini, tapi nggak ada yang high ground dari TNC itu, nggak ada. Paling Nana doang ya. Tapi nggak terlalu sakit damage dari Nana. Ke sana, dia Der. Oh my god, Der maju sendiri. Tapi kenapa balik gitu cuy? Itu salah mungkin ya. Kenapa balik sih itu max-nya ya? Bisa mati tuh Der cuy. Oke, Caknu di sini dia pengen buat dominance, telat ya. Iya udah lah. Oh enggak, dia pengen buat helm mungkin. Dari Chunis nih pengen buat BOD, BOD udah mungkin aja sih. Fake, iya benar banget.
If they can somehow bait Omega, especially Kelra here, to just dive TNC way too early, if they can find the safety of a turret or find a good opportunity to turn the game around, they will need to find that because they are now at 34% win rate compared to 64%, 66% here for Omega.
Ada flicker di Caknunya, kita bakal lihat aja. Montage apa yang bakal dia
I think
perbuat ya.
threw off like the plans that TNC had in mind, or they did not expect this coming. I do feel like that the Nana was still like pre-planned, but then Kelra and the members of Omega at this point don't need to worry much about the Molina. We're getting turned into the stuffed cat. And just the Phobius and then the Yuzong together, TNC does not have enough pieces to be able to just take them down, burst them down quickly. Even though Toshi right now already has like a Genius One, and I believe his next item was a Lightning Crunch, and it's still very hard for them to deal enough damage.
Two things. I call it a friend. You just turn into a friend, and then as per
wah, ini Lordnya bakal diambil dong
short of a
sama
miracle,
Ryzen.
it has to be a quick turnaround, just like this. Maybe in Lord, maybe in their own base. But of course, Ryzen,
aduh, ditahan dong itu si Chu-nya sama si Caknu ya, gila banget. Oke, udah mulai ngilang nih Chu, bahaya ya. Ulti kah? Ulti ternyata sama Renzo-nya, tapi ke sini. Oke, nggak bakal salah. Tapi itu cepet ya itu Renzo, ultinya cepet banget. Ultinya cepet banget.
One or two main items spread across Omega's course.
Yeah, TNC, I mean, all members are up, but you're going to have to deal with a Luminous Lord now marching down that top portion of the map, and they're going to have a defense of a lifetime. But the one thing that they do have going for them is they have minion wave clear, so
Toshinya dipen ke Divine Glaive, Genius One udah jadi. Oh, tadi Genius One dulu, baru Lightning to Creon, makanya lama. Jadi tamusnya di sini Immortal mungkin. Chu-nya dia pengen buat Windtalker biasa.
Despite all that, Chu still is
IHS mungkin juga bisa. Caknunya udah mulai open war ke sini dapat, tapi nggak ada yang backup dari sana. Caknu tapi nggak dipakai sih flicker ya. Oke, Renzi udah mulai ulti ini. Ini udah lepas semua ulti dari Omega. Kayaknya bakal bisa NC. Oke, Renzi sakit banget cuy. Kuning udah dipakai. Oke, langsung ke turret, Dan gaya Benting sudah bisa ulti dia, langsung mati. Oke, ini bakal langsung NC harusnya. Oke, tapi enggak cuy. Kira mati. Double kill dari tamusnya, tapi nggak ada link di sana yang nge-push split push udah jadi Malvictor, itu sakit banget. Oke, ternyata game kedua diambil juga sama Omega Esport. Omega Esport too strong ternyata cuy.
I mean, as I was
Nah,
saying,
kedua mungkin bakal naik ke rank ketiga dari OMG Sport. Oke guys, mungkin segini dulu ya. Gue bakal live besok lagi Sabtu itu pertandingan Brand lawan siapa? Besok itu pertandingan Brand lawan Eko di jam 5. Di jam 5. Gue bakal testing lagi. Untuk sekarang gue bakal off dulu. Sampai jumpa buat kalian yang udah nonton. Terima kasih. Sampai jumpa di live streaming berikutnya.